What? Oh, perdón. Mándaselo primero a la gente. Dame un Sally, can you pass around the public session and sign in? What? Oh, perdón. Mándaselo primero a la gente.
Sorry. So look at that. I kept this on mute. Barbara and folks who are on Zoom, are you able to hear us okay?
Yes, I can hear fine. I can hear
Yes, I
fine.
can hear you. Yep,
Okay.
can hear you here.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And if you have any issues with sound or you can't see us, okay, just let us know. I know we are screen sharing. We'll also turn on captions if there are folks who need them, and you can also turn them on your end as well as a user on Zoom. But welcome everyone to Community Board 12's April general meeting. For folks who are new here or who are new onto the Zoom, the general meeting, and sorry for people in person, I am quite short, so these monitors block me. Not to mean that I'm talking to a screen, but that's what happens here. Thank you. But anyway, the general meeting is when we vote on business before the board, right? So it's a little bit different from your regular committee meetings if you've been to them, where there's more dynamic, we're able to speak to each other freely. So here, the moment for the public to speak is during the public session. For folks who are on Zoom, and as we've said in the room, you got to sign up through the chat or on the paper here. And when the time comes, which is usually about 7:30, we'll be able to call your name. And just for our norms, because we like to kind of set, the tone to the meeting, we don't engage in like a typical back and forth, right? We do follow what's called Robert's Rule of Order. Only board members are able to speak during this meeting with the exception of the public session. So that's why if you have a question, comment, concern, anything you want to bring before us, the public session is a moment to do that. All of us speak at 2 minutes or less. We keep it tight, short, so we can still enjoy our evening and times with our family members. And of course, please use the raise hand function. The chat, if you're on Zoom, is only for, if you're having technical difficulties, if you shared something and you want to throw in that link in the chat or anything like that. We don't necessarily use the chat to kind of have a full out dialogue or thread about the meeting based on the rules for open meeting law. And so we ask you to refrain from doing that. Cool. All right, we can hit the next slide. I don't think we have quorum, so I can't officially call this meeting to order, but when we do, we will do that. Already shared, again, if you are affiliated with an organization or a community group, please put your name and that in the chat if you're signing up to speak. And Simari, who's our first vice chair, will respond to you with your turn number. All right, we can keep going. Okay, cool. So that's me. I didn't introduce myself. I'm sorry. My name is Catherine or Kathy Diaz. I'm the chair for Community Board 12. And as part of my short and sweet update this month, I wanted to share with all members and really with the public big decisions that were made at the state level that do affect us in our community board. So the open meeting law, right, which is what has us being hybrid, which some folks are happy about, some folks are not, has been extended for the next 2 years as is, meaning we will still need to be required, right, that in-person quorum. We will, and again, our board opted to be hybrid. We had to choose either we were hybrid or 100% in person. And we opted for hybrid because it gives a lot of people in the community the flexibility to join. But that does keep that in-person quorum that many boards, not just us, struggle. And so that's something that at Borough Board has been discussed that I know Mark Levine's team is looking at in terms of also being able to get community boards the resources to continue to improve our hybrid meeting functions. Cool. The next slide. Sorry, I was trying to remember my bullet points. All right, cool. Also part of the state budget, which will be continued to discuss, is there was one change as far as, and I know folks on traffic talk about this often, around speed limits. And so as far as community boards are involved, is the speed limit in our districts are going to be raised above the what they currently are. They go before the community board, right? And I know that in our district, speeding has always been a big concern. So that's something, that's to keep in mind, right? Anytime that there are changes to speed limits, they will come before our community board. And last, and certainly not least, and there'll be more information on this in next month's in our newsletters to follow, is around a pilot program for the legalizing of basement and cellar of the legalizing and converting of basement and cellar apartments within the district. So Community Board 12 has was one of the selected districts for that pilot program, meaning that if there are kind of basement apartments that are not being rented out, landlords are able to opt into that program, rehab, gut it, and prep it for it to be a legal dwelling space. So we'll be part of that. That was just announced in the state budget. So obviously a lot to be determined there. And last and certainly not least, this is really more for board members. So I'm gonna invite Radia to come on up. Radia, excuse me. And share.
Good evening, everybody. Oh, I'm short too. I can't see
Yeah,
everybody.
you're like, you didn't realize you were that short.
Hi, my name is Radia Barnes. I'm a member of both the Housing and Human Services and the Business Development Committees. Hello, everybody. Catherine and I are taking it upon ourselves, and we would like everybody to participate in revitalizing our social media platforms. Right now, they're kind of sad. There's not too much activity going on. We want the platforms to be really reflective of the community and the board as well. So we're asking for board members to participate. We want to kick off the revitalization of the platforms with something cool. We would like members to record videos. We have some prompts, some questions to answer, such as why do you like living in Washington Heights, Inwood? What is your favorite place to visit? I'll send emails. I think we have a sign-up sheet, but just record just a simple 30-second video with the, answering the question prompt, and then we'll put it together. And if anyone has social media expertise or would like to participate and help us out, we would welcome all of the help. We have some cool things planned. Catherine has reached out to some influencers, so we hope to really get it going, and we would like the board to really be part of the whole process.
I'll send the clipboard to you. I'll get your paper. Oh, it's actually on the table. So if you want to grab a pen and we could pass it around. So we're going to pass around the clipboard for folks to sign up in person. If you're in the chat, just say if you're a board member and you're down and would like to participate in this initiative, please do so. Our socials cleanup, we know that it's a challenge and we're in the middle of cleaning it up. So it's just bear in mind the process. Cool. And also last, certainly not least, and sad news is as folks we were in our reappointment process, reapplication process, and we do have some members who will not be returning to the board. And so I just want to shout them out. And they're not here in the space right now. I know they let us know maybe one or two might be late, but Luis Cruz, Mancita, Debbie, Hannah, Emily, and Jay Mazer are not coming back to the board. And we thank you so much for your service. Folks from Debbie who have been on the board, I think I want to say for like 5+ years, 6 years. I'm sorry. At least. Sorry, I don't know if you're here, sorry, I can't see you. But we'll get your moment and shine. But again, being a board member, we know folks have sacrificed, especially in the last few years, through COVID with so much. And I know that a lot of folks have also grown through this process, including even, many of us. So again, we're super thank you for your service. Being a board member, and I know there are folks who might be watching, who applied, who are kind of waiting to hear back, or are board members and are waiting to hear back. It's 50 spots. It's not the only way to be active with the board. I've always said going to the meetings, attending the meetings, participating in the meetings, you have so much influence, so much power, and it's your board, right? So you're able to continue to shape our community in that way. So we ask, even if you're not, necessarily, if you're taking a break from the board or anything like that, there's always so many ways to stay connected with us. And so to our members who are departing, I will, in our next member newsletter, have an invite for our next Meet the Board and kind of like just end of the year connection. Sorry, I'm like trying to look at the chat at the same time. All right, cool. So we're gonna move on forward with the portion of elected officials report. So this is a time where we hear from our reps or their representatives tonight, and they have 3 minutes to speak, excuse me. I'm just looking for stats. No, it's all good. Yeah. Okay. All right. So we're gonna start with Zoom, and then we're gonna go to the folks who are in person, if that works. And in order of arrival, so Edgar from Senator Jackson's office, you're up first.
I'm sorry, just give me one quick second. So, we're all aware of how hectic it's been upstate, finalizing the state budget. Some key things that we really wanted didn't go through, at least not in the versions that we wanted, like good cause eviction, the plan that would tax the fair taxing program, which would tax the richest people a little bit more, and also to tax working people in a way that's more equitable. And then, of course, tier 6. So these things will continue to be being pushed for as the new year, later in the year, in the new year, pardon me. So, but a few things that did get passed include a budget of almost $1 billion for the foundation increase. This helps 63 of the poorest districts in the state. It adds almost $500 million to New York City public schools. We also added another $100 million for universal pre-K, $103 million for after-school programs, which is an increase of over $20 million from the last year's budget. There's also a $53 million budget increase to TAP, which is going to be, and also for part-time students. So now TAP won't just be accessible to full-time students, but part-time students as well. We're also talking about a $350 million supplemental tax credit for families that are eligible for the child tax credit. $140 million in capital funding for NYCHA, $80 million to support Mitchell Lamas, $75 million to support public housing authorities outside of New York City. There's also a $10 million fund for the eviction protection fund in New York City and $40 million outside of New York City. So on top of that, we're still continuing to collaborate with Met Council on tenant housing clinics. The next few dates will include May 14th and May 28th. People will have access to lawyers and housing attorneys who defend tenants. They're always, these programs, the clinics are always at 6 o'clock at 5030 Broadway. And also there will be a Jobs NYC Bronx hiring hall on April 26th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Morris Academy for Collaborative Studies, which is on 1110 Boston Road. All people are eligible to attend. And if there's any information that you would like, whether anything that I've mentioned or any information that is on Robert Jackson's newsletter, feel free to email us. You can email me at etavares@nysenate.gov or 212-544-0173, and I'll put my info in the chat. Have a good night.
Thank you, Edgar. Right on time. All right, we're gonna move on next up to Noah Coy from Public Advocate's Office.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good evening, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well, and happy Passover to all those in the community board who celebrate. So I have a couple of quick updates. So the first update, the Public Advocate recently released a proposal to prevent e-bike battery fires by distributing fireproof battery storage bags. And these lithium-ion batteries that are found in these e-bikes, they continue to cause an alarming number of fires citywide. So the Public Advocate is calling for the city to invest in fireproof battery storage containers to distribute to delivery drivers citywide. And these bags are low cost. They cost less than $20 each. And for a relatively small expense like that, the city can provide bags to every delivery driver who needs one. And the Public Advocate sees this as a simple, cost-effective solution that will ultimately save money and, much more importantly, save lives. So that's one update. Regarding the demolition of the historic row houses in the Audubon Park Historic District. I know our office continues to be in communication with the Landmarks Preservation Committee, but I also believe the community board submitted some sort of application to the commission as well. So shout out to Madam Chair and the rest of the community board for that. And besides that, don't really have anything else to report, but as always, any New Yorkers who wish to contact our office can do so by emailing gethelp@advocate.nyc.gov, as well as by contacting our office's hotline at 212-669-7250. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, no. All right, next up, we're gonna go, here she is, Wendy Olivo from Assemblymember Al Taylor's office.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having us. My name is Wendy Olivo. I'm Assemblymember Al Taylor's Chief of Staff. I want to extend the Assembly members' greetings, who, by the way, deeply values the input and concerns of our community. I'm so glad to be here, by the way. It's been a very long time. I'm not at Community Board 12, even though I feel like I grew up there. So thank you so much for everything that you guys do. And thank you so much for keeping it so organized, I remember. I just wanted to highlight some of the legislative budget. And I will say I will drop my information in the chat for further information because there's a lot to explain about everything that has passed. We have included revitalizing housing for New Yorkers, including housing opportunities for the future, tenant and homeowner protections against deed theft, and investments in affordable housing. And of course, that's a very general information. However, again, please reach out to me so I can, give you the details of all of that. But we do have some New York City specific housing advances, which recognize the unique challenges faced by New York City. Specific provisions have been included to address some of these needs, which include the extension of the 421A construction completion deadline and the implementation of the 485X to build new multifamily buildings with affordability standards and a pilot program to legalize basements and cellar apartments, among others, which Catherine had mentioned earlier. I want to invite everyone to visit our office. We are open Monday through Thursday, 10 to 5 p.m. and Fridays, 10 to 4. And every other time after that, we're out in the community. Your input is invaluable to us. So please continue to reach out. I hear from a lot of you. Please continue to send us your concerns, your ideas, and your questions. And again, three of the things that I keep getting a lot of questions about is regarding the rule regarding squatters, the 421A, and of course, the conversion of basements into apartments. So please feel free to reach out to me. I will drop all of my information into the chat. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Wendy. All right, we're gonna swap actually to in person and then go back on Zoom. So I'm gonna call first, actually Evelyn Collado from the Comptroller's office from Brad Lander. And then we're gonna go to Porfirio if it's okay with Manhattan Borough President Marcolini. Oh shit. So come on here, just so folks on Zoom can hear. So everybody's gonna have to use a podium.
Good evening. And thank you for the opportunity to address the board tonight. I have a couple of updates from our office. We generally send a newsletter to the board every month with everything the office is doing. You can reach out to me directly if you would like to receive a copy of it as well. But the first thing that I want to mention tonight is we are doing a panel on May 22nd from 5 to 7 at Brooklyn Borough Hall on Brown versus Board, 70 years since the case. And this panel will discuss the state of segregation, racial segregation in New York City public schools. The second thing that I want to mention tonight is we spearheaded a campaign last month alongside the New York City Public Advocate and the New York City Council Progressive Caucus called Homes Now, Homes Forever, Homes for Generations. And this is a housing campaign that was picked up by the New York City Council for its preliminary budget report. It is calling for $2 billion in funding, capital funding for 2 HPD programs, the Pillars and the Open Doors programs, and is to revitalize and build affordable, deeply affordable housing for posterity. So this is a conversation that we are having currently with community boards. We have 2 briefings, one on May 2nd and one on May 6th. One is in 12 to 1 on May 2nd. The other one in the evening. We would like to have CB12 participate. We already have most of the community boards across the city sign up already. And then the third thing that I want to mention is we have added a new dashboard to our website. We have the climate dashboard, we have the Department of Corrections dashboard, and now we have the homelessness dashboard. It tracks homelessness in New York City, and it populates that data by age, family type, racial background, and also the reasons that lead to exits from the shelters. Like I said, I'm open to send you more information on any of these topics, as well as other topics that we cover in our office. Thank you.
You have a question?
Maybe I have a question.
Swear to God, not an audience.
That's amazing. All right, so we'll see you on the 22nd.
I'll do my best.
All right, thank you.
Good evening, everyone, and happy Passover. My name is Porfirio Figueroa, and I am the Community Coordinator for the Manhattan Borough President's Office, also representing Community Boards 11 and 12. Our state elected offices worked hard to lay out this year's $112 million budget, billion. Among the items that our office wanted highlighted in this budget package are the new tax program 485X, which has been created to incentivize the creation of new rental buildings with guaranteed affordable housing and stronger labor standards. We also advocated for tenant protections for residents in rent stabilized and market rate apartments. The city also now has the more enforcement ability to shut down illegal cannabis shops and the power to lower speed limits below 25 miles per hour on some city streets, which will greatly impact the survival rate in vehicular related accidents. The hate crime laws have been expanded to include several new offenses. However, we will continue to advocate for additional offenses such as graffiti and swatting bomb threats to be included. The Manhattan Borough President has been working hard to address the need for public bathrooms in our city. So he recently wrote a letter to the MTA asking for signage and illustrations to all the locations of all accessible restrooms in dozens of train stations. And we'll share that progress as it comes along. We have finally completed the community board interview sessions and reviewing all the applications. And we are very close to making the final Manhattan Borough President appointment decisions. And we hope to make those announcements by the first week of May so that the new members can begin their new terms next month. A reminder that Eric Cuello is now serving as our acting director for community affairs, and he can be reached at ecuello@manhattanbp.nyc.gov. Our amazing volunteer corps will be back in action and throughout the borough to support fellow Manhattanites. And we recently partnered with the West Side Campaign Against Hunger to pack hundreds of pounds of shelf-stable food. And we will continue our volunteer efforts by participating in park cleanups, tabling events all throughout the summer. So if you wish to join us or be part of this, please go to www.manhattanbp.nyc.gov. You can also post your community events there as well on our events tab. And I want to echo your sense of gratitude to those that have served that will no longer be continuing. Thank you.
Thanks, Porfirio. And I think, yeah, as you said, board members who did reapply, just be on the lookout. They're still working on it. Okay, and then last and certainly not least, I think Jamila. Oh, I'm sorry, Christopher. Let's see. All right, you know what? We'll go to Christopher from Assemblymember Manny de los Santos office, and then Jamila Freddie.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Christopher Espinoza. I'm the Director of Community Affairs for Assemblyman Manny de los Santos. First off, I want to start by addressing the budget. New York State has passed a budget of $237 billion this fiscal year. And while the budget is not perfect, there are some notable highlights and victories to mention in regards to housing, healthcare, mental health, education, small businesses, and much more, particularly those that impact constituents in our 72nd Assembly District. When it comes to housing, there was an allocation of $350 million for the supplemental Empire State Child Credit to ease the tax burden for working families. There was also an allocation of a 1.7 salary increase and 1.5 COLA for those who work in human services. Additionally, there was also an allocation for NYCHA of $140 million. And also for Mitchell Lamas, 80 billion was the allocation. Additionally, the Assembly member also wanted to communicate that he's in conversations at the moment with the Speaker of the New York State Assembly to bring in more funding for NYCHA developments that we have in our district. This is for the Dykeman houses and Marble Hill as well. When it comes to childcare, there was a $280 million allocation for the recruitment and retention of childcare providers. For mental health, there was a $800 million allocation for distressed hospitals and $350 million for when it comes to rate increases. Education, there was an allocation of $20.7 billion investment in higher education. That includes SUNY, CUNY, and opportunity programs. We're particularly proud that there was an allocation of $858 million for the City University of New York and an overall of $100 million for EOP programs, which also includes SEEK and college discovery programs within CUNY. There were a lot more. There was an investment of $2.5 billion for environmental protection. Additionally, the Assembly member also successfully passed the Retail Worker Protection Act, which increases protection for those who work in retail stores. This also created a $3,000 tax credit for small businesses for retail theft prevention. And also, as a result of this piece of legislation, which was historic, it created a task force at the state level with an allocation of $40 million for the task force to investigate retail theft. Additionally, there was also a $1.3 billion investment for transportation for capital aid to localities. I also want to mention that some of the notable events that we've held in the past, we held an immigration clinic in partnership with NALEO in Inwood. We helped 150 community members on their path to citizenship. It was a very successful event. We're also in conversations of hosting another one this year. Additionally, we also hosted a successful Women's Expo event in partnership with the New York Women's Chamber of Commerce. This event highlighted women entrepreneurs in our district. Also, I want to remind folks that our district office is located at 210 Sherman. Our office is a resource hub for constituents, and we also have amazing constituent services and an amazing staff. Every month, we partner with organizations and nonprofits to bring pro bono legal assistance services, assistance in applying and recertifying for SNAP benefits, reduced fare Metro cards. We also partner to help constituents apply for the WIC program, which is also essential for working families. for those who qualify. And we also have a great partnership with the city's tenant support unit, which helps tenants address issues when it comes to housing, making the necessary repairs, disputes and issues that they
Right,
have
that
with
was
their
good
landlord.
time. If you could, thank you. If you could just put the info in the chat, especially, when there are kind of walk-in hours or appointment hours, that could definitely be helpful for a lot of our new members.
Absolutely will do. Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. And Jamila, are you still on or?
Yes,
Yes, all right, perfect. We're gonna go on to, and Jamila's with Carmen de la Rosa's office.
yes. Hi, everyone. Unfortunately, I can't be there today in person because I'm at another meeting. It's a multitasking night. Jamila Sandoval, Director of Community Affairs for Councilmember Carmen de la Rosa's office. Since I last saw you guys, we held different community events. We had our spring festival this last Saturday. It was with in partnership with Parks. We even held an egg hunt, even though it was a month after Easter. And then we also participated in the Car Free Day. Today, actually, the council member held a rally to discuss the outcomes of the pay equity report that was sent out by the city council. And we also held out a legislation hearing to discuss different legislations regarding the citywide administrative services, to, for example, bring in professional development and promotion opportunities, to provide services on promoting these exams, to create a culture survey, to bring this type of programming to like CUNY and different universities, and also to bring, like I said, promote the civil service exam. As we continue going on with the upcoming months, as hopefully we get spring, we're still in winter, we can start having our outside mobile offices. We're in the process of planning that. We're in the process of planning a Mother's Day event, and different street co-naming that will be coming up soon, and hopefully more summer events. That's what I want to share since I have to run back into my meeting. Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you. All right, and that wraps up this portion of tonight's agenda. So thank you to all of the reps who shared all these key updates with us. I did want to just shout out, we did get quorum at like 7:17 p.m. So I can officially call the meeting to order. And I wanted to see if let me put up the agenda. Because do we have minutes? Did folks have minutes?
Yes.
Okay, so everybody did get minutes for this month, thanks to Anthony. And we also do have our agenda. So if you don't have them in person, they're definitely in your inbox from Paola. So I want to first try to adopt tonight's agenda. Is there a motion to adopt tonight's agenda?
I move.
All right, Liz, and is there a second? I'm gonna go, who was that? That was Wayne?
Yep.
Okay, is there any objections? Okay, hearing none, April 2024's agenda is adopted. And is there a motion to adopt tonight's minutes? March 2024's minutes.
But
By
paperwork aside, and this is how I've normally done my own practice, which is like, I
Sorry,
have paperwork done.
And is there a second?
Second.
Luana, anyone in objection? Hearing none, those are adopted. Thank you. Oh. One abstention. Any other abstentions, just in case? Okay, hearing none, thank you. All right, back to our regularly scheduled program. Okay, so we're gonna start the public session. We will, what? They're gonna come into the public. Yeah, so let's start, actually, let's play around a little bit. Let's start in person, because folks got here early, settled in, we went on Zoom first. So again, so that everybody can hear you both in the room and on Zoom, we're gonna need folks to come on up to this lovely mic right here. You get 2 minutes each. We're obviously seated right here, so we'll just nudge you when it is your time. Cool. All right, so we're gonna start. Sorry, thank you. Like scrolling like crazy. All right, so in person, we're starting with Liz on behalf of Up Theater Uptown Wagon, and then followed by Rafael and Pastor Verado Acosta.
Hello, I'm wearing three hats. One, on behalf of Up Theater Company, our full production Lost Sock Laundry. There are some flyers up there. It's really good. I'm saying that because it's really good, not because I'm biased because I'm on the board. It's a play about politics and immigration, and it's you'll laugh, you'll cry. It's very moving. It's extremely well done. It is, there are a couple of more showings tonight at 8, which also features ASL translation, tomorrow and Saturday at 8 p.m. and Saturday at 3 p.m., which includes also Spanish translation at the Fort Washington Collegiate Church. In addition, unrelated to Up Theater, the Cornerstone Chorale is having their concert on Sunday, May 5th at 5 p.m. Holy Rood Church, 179th and Fort Washington Avenue. It's a tremendous local chorale. I used to sing with them. I miss it, but I'm glad I get to go this year as audience. You will not be disappointed. And last but not least, on behalf of Uptown Wagon, the free store is back. We will be having another free store on Friday, May 3rd at the Armory. Shout out to the Armory for giving us free space for 2 days and providing us staff and tables and all of the support that we need. The free store is pretty much what it sounds like. Everybody gets to shop for free. There's clothing for bodies of all sizes, housewares, toiletries. We'll have some folks from the School of Public Health doing public health messaging outside. And we are accepting donations on Thursday, May 2nd from 9:30 in the morning till 6:30 at night. See me for details. And if you want to volunteer, it's a lot of fun. But it's a lot of work. So we could use your help. Thank you. And eat cookies because I'm taking these all night.
All right, next up is Rafael Schweizer from the Five Borough Comic Store, and again, Pastor Beraldo Acosta. So just come on back.
Yes. Hi, everybody. My name is Rafael. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I was a community organizer in the Bronx for about a decade, and I have a new little thing that I'm doing. It's called the Five Borough Comic Book Store Tour. So Porfirio knows me. I would ask a question at the beginning. Who here, when they were younger or now, went to a comic book store? Yes, it's usually about half the people. So comic book stores are a place that not only sell comics, but that preserve physical media. They sell toys, collectibles, a place where you can take your kids, appreciate culture. And unfortunately, yes, they are endangered, but they do still exist. And over the past few months, I've done a lot of research, and there's about 35 of them in the 5 boroughs. And next weekend is Jane's Walk, organized by the Municipal Art Society. So this will be my first Jane's Walk. And we're going to be going from comic book store to comic book store, because a lot of people, they stay within their own little neighborhood and they don't really branch out. And there's really a lot of beautiful eclectic stores in Brooklyn and Queens, even Staten Island. There's some left in Manhattan, and there's some in the Bronx too. So it's going to kick off Saturday, May 4th. We're going to meet at Union Square, and from there we're going to visit Forbidden Planet, which has been there since 1981. And we're going to take the N train to Queens and visit a couple of locally owned comic book stores there. If you'd like information on the event, there's a flyer up front, flyer in my hand. If you'd like emails about future events and a list of all the comic book stores in the 5 boroughs, there's an email address, Instagram, and a text number on there. And the event is free. And it's very important for us to support these comic book stores, because as we know, brick and mortar establishments don't have protections. When the lease is up, they could be gone at any moment. So it's up to us to support them. All right. Thank you. I'll take a cookie.
Thanks. Pastor Beraldo? And someone with the Coney will be speaking. All right. And then followed by David Slot. Quien sea.
Good evening. My name is Reverend Beraldo Acosta. This is my wife, Reverend Carmen Acosta. She's going to speak on behalf of myself and the church.
Good evening. This evening, I'd like to share that The reason why we are appealing to the board to consider the renaming of the street is because to us, our pastor was there for 68 years. He definitely impacted the church. He always promoted education, made sure people were ready to vote whenever the elections came up. And he was a model for us. He himself was educated. And many of the members in the church, we even have families of up to 4 generations that have been impacted by him. And to us, it would be a legacy, part of his legacy, to be able to name the street after him. And, excuse me? Oh. And I just wanted to be able to appeal to the board so that they can consider this. To us, it would be such an honor to be able to have the street named after him. The church stands there at the corner, and it's not just a church where people go and worship. There's definitely always initiatives. Right now, we are in conjunction and partnering with Columbia to be able to bring community services to the church and to bring conferences for health and other conferences as well, so that the community can be connected and they can be informed in terms of decisions that need to be made, as well as being able to be, like I said, an honor for us to have this considered.
What's the name of
Yes.
the church?
Oh, the name of the church is the Pentecostal Church of Washington Heights. It is on 281 Audubon Avenue. Yes.
So I understand that the resolve says the corner of 179th Street. There's a typo in the.
That was the
resolve. It
office
should be
number.
179th, not 189th, but.
Right.
Am I correct that you would actually like the street to be co-named Reverend Carlos R. Reyes Way, not
Yes.
Carlos Reyes Way?
Yes, R is his middle initial.
Right, but you would like for it to say Reverend Carlos or Rev Carlos R. Reyes, not Carlos R. Reyes?
Yes.
Yes.
Got it. And whoever's presenting for TNT, expect that as a friendly amendment. And whoever's presenting for TNT, accept that as a friendly amendment? Or do you
Sure.
make that?
When we get there, we can do that.
All right.
So thank you so much, and thank you all for coming to the meeting tonight. All right, next up, as I said, we'll have David Slot, followed by Ryan.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is David Slot, and I stand here to add to the chorus of voices over 400 people strong who've signed the petition opposing the installation of synthetic turf at Bennick Park. I live a block from the park, and I go there nearly every day with my toddler. I do want to thank the current Parks Committee chair for giving ample time to this issue at the last meeting. I want to thank Liz Ritter, the former chair of this committee, of the Parks Committee, who I don't think agrees with me, but has been open and responsive when contacted about this issue. Thank you. The New York City Parks Department, on the other hand, has shown concern for our questions, but have provided answers with absolutely no substance. They either do not know what's in the tufted nylon turf, as they call it, or they do know, and they're not telling us. There was a public scoping meeting on this issue on Zoom, October 2021. But when we ask parks for recording minutes or notes, they provide absolutely nothing. Multiple emails to Steve Simon, the designated project liaison and member of this community board, have been ignored. The Parks Department did admit to journalist Sarah Maldonado of the city that the turf being installed does contain PFAS. These are forever chemicals. We know that in 2022, the New York State Legislature and Governor Hochul signed into law a ban on the sale of carpets and clothing containing PFAS that'll go into effect in the next few years. We know that PFAS have been linked to adverse health conditions such as high cholesterol, ulcerative colitis, thyroid disease, testicular cancer, kidney cancer, preeclampsia, liver disease, asthma, and infertility. So what are we doing approving the installation of 3,300 square feet of plastic chemicals in our beloved public park? It's mind-boggling. It's upsetting, and I urge this community board to continue to ask questions. I urge the electeds to continue to ask questions of the Parks Department, demand answers, because I submit they know what's in this turf, but they're not telling us. Thank you.
Hello, CB12. How you doing? My name is Ryan Desso. I'm a local artist. I just wanted to, I'm kind of winging this, but I just wanted to, talk tonight and have the opportunity. I appreciate you for allowing me to speak about something that we need to address as far as a citywide, but then also nationwide, and it's a logistics and language. So I guess one question you could kind of ponder is, what are drugs? What are drugs? Was the vaccine that we had, was this drugs? Within that, the language that we speak within our data, in which we can compile logistics and data moving forward. So I think these are just two issues that we need to talk about, but like sexuality and the drugs that are interfaced in our society are big logistics and data that is holding us back. And I see that there's a young child in the audience, and she's my hero of mine. The reason why I say this is because we need to make a logistics, data, and language that is computable for the common people of the future to be able to digest. And I think that we are really behind. And I think that our district, we can ponder ideas from here, from CB12, to approach the city and then approach the federal government about how we can break down the logistics and data of these. These are just two subjects, but many subjects that we need to discuss that are holding us back in our data and logistics that will help us moving forward. And one thing that I guess that we could ponder upon closure is, how many people do we actually have in Manhattan? I don't believe we know. I don't believe that the vaccine was able to break down this. And this is just some of the computable language and logistics and data that we need to approach. So upon then, once we find out the population of our city, we can then break down issues such as sexuality, such as, drug usage and what are drugs, and the chemical and healthcare, stuff that we ingest into our bodies, in which we can now compute language and data that will be digestible, not only for us now, but also for the future. And this will be something that we should start at our level, and then ultimately from there we can move forward. So I just wanted to pose this question to get people to think about, what are the data and logistics and the language that we can compute together as a community to move forward and approach the city with, in which I think it would not only help us. Oh, thank you. But not only help us, but help us for the future. So thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Next we have Andrew and Deborah to wrap up the in-person speakers. Andrew Irving and Deborah. Oh, sorry, I'm +1. Yeah. Getting the name.
Good evening. My name is Andrew Irving. I live in the neighborhood, and happily I can be brief because I just want to support the comments made by the previous speaker about Bennett Park and about the artificial turf. This is a big issue in the community, and what was particularly shocking to me was that while there was apparently some process around the decision during COVID and the height of the pandemic, this project sort of sprang out of nowhere in that park. And there are numerous issues surrounding the use of artificial turf in areas like that, as well as indoors. And the science continues to evolve, so that whatever was considered in 2020 or 2021 needs to be reconsidered in light of new information, new studies, and so on. And it should not be a matter of relying on the manufacturers and the contractors to tell us that things are safe. There needs to be independent, thorough study of the issues so that a rational decision based on the facts can be made and that undue risk is not taken. Finally, the costs associated with artificial turf need to be re-examined, and the cost of maintenance, the cost of periodic replacement should be compared with the cost of maintaining and using natural turf, so that there's not an artificial, if you will, cost benefit analysis that drives the decision about what to do. But in the meantime, it would be terrific if this board could prevail on the Parks Department to put a stop to the work right now until all of this can be worked out and the community informed of what the next steps can be that will be safe in the long term. Thank you.
And then Doug Watts is actually last in person.
Hi, thank you for letting me speak today. My name is Deborah Walk. I've lived in Hudson View Gardens for 2.5 years. And before that, I lived in the East Village where I watched the destruction of East River Park amid heavy protest. I moved to Washington Heights to experience living in the greenest part of Manhattan. My new home is surrounded by old trees, varieties of plants cultivated in wild, pollinators, and an incredible variety of birds, importantly, birds of prey like hawks, owls, falcons, and wild animals, including woodchuck, skunks, raccoons, and the occasional coyote and deer. Unlike many of the people on the petition, I'm 63 years old. I do not have children. And while I have a dog, my greatest concern is for the environment. I'm an herbalist and a forager. We have entered the Anthropocene, the Earth's new human-made time period, also known as the Plasticine. Plastic has been found in everything, including fetuses, everyone's blood, our water, and our air. This turf, and we have not even been informed as to what chemicals are in it, is plastic. No matter if it's a new safe technology or not, it wears out, it must be thrown away, it cannot be composted, it cannot be reused, it will not biodegrade, and it does not encourage pollinators on which we are dependent for our food supply. It's harmful to wildlife, and the runoff will harm rivers below. I'm including Sherman's Creek. Why is the Parks Department so short-sighted? People have noted that the area is too dark for long grass. Well, long grass is not good for the environment either. I've walked through the neighborhood to see what grows well in similar environments. Here's a list of some of the ground cover I've seen. Violets, dandelion, crabgrass, mizuna, clover, false strawberry, wild garlic, wild onion, chives. Let's cover the dirt, which I call soil, with this type of ground cover.
I'm sorry, that was your time.
It's adorable, beautiful, all beings can enjoy it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. Thanks for letting me speak tonight. My name's Doug Watson. I'm also going to speak about the synthetic turf in Bennett Park. And I'll try to be very brief. My kids, who are 9 and 6, play there almost every day. I just want to say that if this synthetic turf goes in over the strong objections of hundreds of local parents in the neighborhood, I seriously doubt that my kids will get to play there anymore because I'll just go straight for it. I've lost my mother to cancer. She didn't get to meet my kids. I lost a 15-year-old cousin to cancer. I'm not messing around with carcinogenic chemicals that have been in the news recently. The PFAS, in two separate actions, the Biden administration's EPA has recently been tightening standards on these extremely dangerous chemicals. It's a maddening feeling to have the Parks Department coming in and just ignoring the community and doing this to our park, and in effect, taking the park away from a lot of families. A lot of other parents are going to make the decision that my wife and I will make, which is like, okay, we're going to send the kids we're going to go to different parks. We don't get to go there anymore. It just feels disrespectful. It's rude. It seems stubborn. I don't really get it. I don't know why they're not listening. And that's what I want to say. I also want to say to anyone who has not been to Bennett Park, even in its current disfigured, partly closed off state, it's a real gem of a park. You can really see the community using it every day. People of all ages, dogs, red-tailed hawks. It's a nice place. So come on by. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're gonna start with public session on Zoom. So we're gonna kick off with Ariel Sella, from Holbrook Smith from CUNY School of Public Health, followed by Mari Lady from WEACT. So Ariel Sella, if you're there.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ariel Sell Holbrook-Smith from the CUNY Graduate School of Public Health and Health Policy, which is the only public school of public health in New York City. I'm coming to you from our community engagement team as the Health Equity and Literacy Program Officer. Just wanted to invite you all to our upcoming mental health webinar Next Wednesday, May 1st, from 12 p.m. to 1:30 p.m., we'll hear from the Harlem Hospital Community Advisory Board's Dr. Sharif and Assistant Commissioner Padmore John from DOHMH about the state of mental health in our Upper Manhattan communities in districts 9, 10, 11, and 12. The conversation will focus on strategies and resources to tackle anxiety and depression, and also with a focus on the outpatient services which are available to us through Harlem Hospital. I can drop the information in the chat. You can register via Eventbrite. Again, it will be virtual, so we will be on Zoom for the webinar. But yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And if you're on our oh my God, what am I trying to say? On our mailer light, aka on our newsletters, we have shared many of CUNY's events in the past. And for folks who did share events during the first part of the public session, please do send them to the office, CB12M. We're always sending them out. Please send them the Thursday before your event, because if not, you miss the cutoff for a newsletter. But anyways, next off to Mari Levy.
Hello, thank you for having me. My name is Mari Lady. I am the bilingual community organizer at WIAT. Last Saturday, we have a good turnout in our street name on behalf of Cecil Cobrimine. That's Convent Avenue and 143rd Street. We have next candidate forum for Senate District 31, Assembly District 71 and 72nd. We're changing the date from May 2nd to May 16th. And we have May membership meeting. That's going to be May 18th. Regular time at 10 a.m. The other one is on Zoom at 6:30. This one is Assembly District 69 and 70 candidate forum. And then I have my Spanish working group on May 9th at 6:30 on Zoom. We're going to have local government. We have one staff for assembly, one staff for councilor, and the district leader and the board of president, one staff of each of them, to have a regular conversation there, what they do and how we can approach to them. So thank you so much. That's it.
Thank you. Next up, we have Arlene Rodriguez with chat.
Hello, good evening, everybody. Can you hear me correctly?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much. Good evening, everybody. I'm Arlene Rodriguez, Program Manager with Jazz Power Initiative. I'm here to introduce or reintroduce to some of the folks here attending the organization Jazz Power Initiative. We are a nonprofit organization that is locally based here uptown in Inwood specifically, that looks to transform lives through arts, jazz, education, and community performance. And I just want to share our organization with everybody, and so people can see us as an asset to them for when they're looking for entertainment or for high quality education for the youth. So our mission is to transform lives through jazz, and we do it through two main avenues. One is youth arts education, where we train at low or no cost young children from 10 to 16 in singing, acting, and movement in jazz, all here uptown, and also through our community concerts. We just wrapped up an amazing 6 months concert series in Alianza Dominicana, once a month on Wednesday. We're going to start again on October of this year, so please keep an eye on us. We did an Aguilar recently with an Afro-Latin world of percussion. We also had the Sakai brothers with an ode to the maestro Eddie Palmieri. We even had sitting in that day in the concert the actual drummer of Eddie Palmieri. So we are a great asset for the uptown community regarding community concerts and youth education for free. So please follow us in jazzpower.org. That's our website, or look us up in social media, Jazz Power Initiative. We have another amazing concert coming up this Saturday. It's called We Got the Swing, a Harlem Music Jubilee celebrating the 125th birthday of Duke Ellington and the 50 years of hip hop. That's going to be totally free at Harlem School of the Arts. And in June 15, we have our Intergenerational Jazz Power Festival. 4 great lineups in Pat's Lawn, June 15, starting at 3 p.m., totally free. So please follow us at jazzpower.org and Jazz Power Initiative in social media to keep up to date. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Darlene. Let's see, sorry. All right, next up, our last 2 speakers, we're gonna go start with Kaya Samurkas and then Serena Dane, excuse me.
Hi, thank you so much. My name is Kaya. So as many people have before me now, I'm going to be speaking on the artificial turf, but specifically about PFAS. These are chemicals that coat the blades of the artificial turf that's under discussion. And I specifically want to talk about the health concerns from PFAS exposure. This doesn't just affect Bennett Park, but because the Parks Department plans to install artificial turf in over 50 parks over the next 5 years, this is an issue that's going to be impacting not only CB12, but the rest of Manhattan and the rest of the borough as well. So PFAS, which stands for per and polyfluoroalkyl substances, it's a group of synthetic chemicals that have been detected globally in the air, in water, food, soil, in umbilical cord blood in infants, in human breast milk. Due to their chemical makeup, PFAS are extremely stable and resistant to degradation, which is why they're called forever chemicals. Other than these pathways that I've mentioned, there are other major exposures, one of which is the hand-to-mouth transfer from carpets or synthetic coverings such as artificial turf. And this reason is specifically why Governor Hochul recently signed a law that is going to go into effect beginning in this December of this year, that bans PFAS in clothing and carpeting, including the plastic grass carpet that composes the synthetic turf. This is not a new issue, and these concerns we're raising are not new. Since the late 90s, PFAS exposure has been linked with numerous adverse health outcomes that were previously mentioned, and a few more: preeclampsia, decreased birth weight, decreased vaccine response, high cholesterol, thyroid dysfunction, all of which are concerns that disproportionately affect people in this community right here and right now. And these findings are not from advocacy groups, but they're from larger and international organizations like the EPA and the International Agency for Research on Cancer and the Agency for Toxic Substances and Disease Registry. These health effects led to a class action lawsuit in West Virginia against the manufacturer 3M and the establishment of a medical monitoring program that has been going on for the last 11 years. Cities across the US, in Europe, Canada, and Australia have already banned the installation of artificial turf due to these exact concerns about PFAS, as well as other chemical contaminants, including BPA, that has been linked to other chronic health issues like cancer, diabetes.
Sorry, Kaya, thank you so much. That was your time.
Thank you.
We're gonna wrap up with Serena Dane.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. And I'd kind of like to continue where Kaya left off and just add my voice to the chorus of people who are raising very strong concerns about the turf in Bennett Park. I live a block away from Bennett Park, and I'm a parent of 2. I have a 2-year-old and a newborn, and I'm frankly very, very concerned, and I'm very scared about the health of my children and what will happen if this turf is installed, because it is our community park. And of course, as someone who's very active in the community and in the neighborhood, I'm concerned about the health of all my neighbors and about the environmental impacts, which I think have been raised by several other speakers. But I think it's also important for the community board to consider the long-term effects. We know from our public health history that from things like lead paint, from things like asbestos, once something is in our environment, in our space, it can often be very hard to remediate. And I think it's important for us to kind of recognize that the research is all leading in one direction. PFAS do seem to be very dangerous, leading to all of these adverse health outcomes that Kaya was just listing before me. And so I really do urge the community board to rescind support for this project and to urge the Parks Department to rethink their plan for Bennett Park. I think there are many other ways to make use of that space, and many ways to do so that won't be putting our health at risk, our children's health at risk, and that won't be dangerous for our environment. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And that wraps up tonight's public session. Again, for folks who did not get to speak or, wanted to keep saying more, that the committee space is really where you are able to lend your voices more and have a lot more increased dialogue. And then, of course, at next month's general meeting, we are here with the public session. Okay, so we're gonna move forward to items before us for consideration. Debbie is not here tonight. Maybe she could swing by in May, but we got Leo. Who's the assistant chair for traffic and transportation. Our traffic and transportation committee is responsible for street code namings. So I'm gonna let him speak about it. And then I actually have the resolution. Do you want me to put it up?
Yeah, that's all.
Oh, I forgot. Sorry. No, because then I lose the whole screen. Oh, hey, Bruce.
Yeah, Bruce.
Oh, my fault. Okay, go ahead.
Good evening, everyone.
Yeah. 4 minutes.
I'm joined, my name is Leo Jimenez. I'm the assistant chair of the Traffic and Transportation Committee. I'm joined by a fellow committee member and board member, Bruce Robertson. And we are here to support the street co-naming of Reverend Carlos R. Reyes Way. Just give you a few details about Reverend Carlos Reyes. Reverend Carlos Reyes was a pivotal figure in Washington Heights, dedicating over 6 decades as a lead pastor of Pentecostal Church at Washington Heights. His profound impact on the community extended beyond spiritual leadership. He was a steadfast advocate for the needy, providing essential services like food, shelter, and counseling. Recognizing the importance of education and integration, he facilitated classes in English, citizenship, and computer skills, and supported various group meetings. Throughout his tenure, Reverend Reyes collaborated with local government agencies to distribute resources and essential information, ensuring the community received reliable guidance during crises, such as our recent pandemic. His legacy is immortalized not only through his contributions, but also through his family and the generations he influenced with values of service and education. In honoring his lifetime of dedication and service to our community, Community Board 12 Manhattan seeks to commemorate Reverend Carlos R. Reyes by naming the northeast corner of Audubon Avenue, West 179th Street, as Reverend Carlos R. Reyes Way, serving as a permanent reminder of the value of community service and the profound impact one individual can have on many lives. It is.
I'll make sure that the typo in the title gets changed.
Yeah.
And the whereas I would suggest that resolve insert in recognition of the life and legacy of the Reverend Carlos R. Rey. That's what I would put, the Reverend between of and Carlos. And then
You want it spelled out?
I would spell it so I would suggest that it say the life and legacy of the Reverend Carlos R. Rey.
And a sign.
Let me finish.
Okay.
Blah, 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 blah. Rename the corner as Rev, R-E-V, period, Carlos R. Reyes. So I would suggest
Got it.
that.
Thank you.
You got it. Thank you, Liz, for the friendly amendment.
Yes.
Yeah, Steve?
Period.
I've got 2 questions. First of all, why was the 179th Audubon chosen? Is that where the church is located?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, so I think that could be referred to in the resolution. And in the 5th whereas, where you say that during the recent pandemic, distributed masks, the more was important to clear and accurate information regarding the health crisis, so residents would not be fooled by fake news and receive the trusted true health guidelines. Does that mean that he encouraged people to get vaccinated or not?
Yes, I believe so.
All right, well, when you see fake news, you're not really sure what's meant by that. So I would delete those words and I would make it crystal clear that what he was encouraging was people to be vaccinated.
That's what we encourage to get vaccinated.
Yeah, hold on. Are folks on Zoom catching that?
So before you delete.
Hold on, Liz, let me just make
No,
sure.
we can't hear. It's very low.
Okay. All right, thanks. So we're just repeating, you can repeat it. Sorry.
Yeah, so Steve wanted us to add and the 5th whereas instead of what we have currently, just to kind of consolidate and more transparency, residents were encouraged to receive COVID vaccination.
I wouldn't delete that. So I would respectfully it makes sense to add that that the Reverend was encouraging vaccines. But if part of his legacy was helping for people to understand the truth and not be corrupted by fake news, that feels like an important thing to keep in.
Well, I would just need those 3 words.
Hold on, hey, yeah, everybody, hold on, everybody a little out of order. So, he shared it, she disagreed. It's up to you guys to take that, but we do have hands on Zoom that were up before. Yes, I know, but they were up before you and haven't spoken on this, so we're gonna go to Indiana and then Jim, and then Luana. Was it Luana who had her hand up? Okay. Wendy can't speak on this item. Go ahead, Indiana.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to suggest if like the term fake news is maybe what's like triggering concern, maybe we say would not be fooled by misinformation. Would that satisfy the concern that was raised?
Would that work for you guys?
That works
That's
for us,
work
yeah.
for you guys.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yes.
So Jim, go ahead real loud and then and you guys can repeat it into the mic.
2 things. I'm glad we came to a compromise on this because asking people to be vaccinated is one thing. Fighting fake news, fighting disinformation, I taught science. That's what we all must do or we're all gonna go to hell, literally. So that has to be there and it's there in some form. So, and first of all, I was at the meeting and you've only heard the tip of the iceberg in terms of what an astounding individual this Reverend was. We were just overwhelmed by everything he did, which is to some degree summarized. So ideally we will pass this unanimously.
This is the form.
Thank you, Jen.
Luana, and then
I'll preface this by saying that I'm a linguist. Why not just eliminate the loaded language and say that, where are we? I'm sorry. That he made sure so residents would receive health guidelines. Because what's fake news to some may not be fake news to us. What's being fooled by some may not be fooled by all. What I describe as true is not necessarily true for everybody. But what is objective is that he was responsible for informing his residents of health guidelines. That's just, you can accept it or not, but I'm just want to bring clarity as to why the back and forth.
Hold on. So these folks already spoke. We have Michelle Nobles because y'all moved down. We're gonna wrap up because we're also sharing. Let's just stop this share. Hold on real quick. And share the actual Google Doc because he's making the changes live and I think folks are getting twisted in the debate. Sorry, no offense. All right.
And that's
let's
not
just move
fake
ahead.
news.
All right. So he had included what Indiana raised around misinformation. So what did I say? I said, Michelle and the Nobles, yeah.
Not receive misinformation.
And let's stay there.
I have a question, just more of a logistical question. So it's the intersection of 179th and Audubon, so it's the corner, but you'd still be able to see the streets, like the street signs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It goes underneath the number.
Extra sign, yeah.
Okay, perfect. That's
Yeah.
helpful. 'Cause sometimes I find it, like some of the renaming, it makes it confusing, like which street you're actually on. So, thanks for clarifying.
Nobles. Nobles, he hasn't spoken on.
With all due respect to the beautiful linguist up there, you know I love you. But
Love you too, Nobles.
But I also feel like that, I'm not sure if we can undo, you probably undo a word there, but like, I'm not really sure if that's the approach, like. We know objectively what fake news is, like especially during that time. And I feel like doing like I understand what you're saying, which is very uber consensus of you, and I appreciate you for that. But I don't think this is like a both sides kind of situation. So like if you were like actively educating the folks in his congregation on what fake news is, like really is, and what it's not, or maybe how fake, I do think that should be called out the way that, you know, Mr. Simon and other folks agreed earlier. And let's just not overcomplicate it. it is what it is.
Okay, hold on, I'm saying 4 hands. I just want to be clear. So there was a friendly amendment made. They accepted it, which was around misinformation and that. Now, that was taken. Are there hands that want to edit that language?
The misinformation language.
Just, I want to just be clear because we're kind of getting in the weeds and, you know, we have more business. All right, the hands that are up is because you want to edit that language. All right, so let me just go to Jay, back to Stacks, because he hasn't spoken.
I would just suggest more factual and statements when you move. Just say crisis of residents would be educated and informed. And see.
I mean, educated and informed.
I just said residents would receive. Trusted.
Yeah, just remove what guidelines.
Apologies, can you please repeat it?
Yeah, I'm waiting for him to finish. We're waiting for him to finish saying it, so repeat it.
What if?
My problem with the word pool, I don't think you need that in that sentence.
Residents would receive trusted.
Health.
Okay.
True, trusted health guidelines.
Okay, Jay, so let's pause there, just so let's go the round so we could hear the language and then Bruce and Leo make the decision on what they're taking as friendly on the point. So back to Richard, sorry, Richard, then Jim, then Steve.
I would suggest the smallest of changes, simply because fake news has become a slogan rather than.
Fake news has been removed.
Liz, please, you're out of order. Thank you.
So highlight that so they can see it.
Yeah.
That time it's fine. I think it's best.
Okay, let's hear what Jim got.
How's that?
I would like to congratulate Nobles and make you an honorary science teacher. There isn't, and I adore you, Luana, but there is an objective reality out there. There is real truth and real falsehood. And I understand we should be sensitive with our language, but this reality is even more important. Anyone who told you not to get a vaccination, or maybe some of the stuff we may or may not have heard about, what the particular turf that might be used in the parks will happen to contain. I just looked up, by the way, there are lots of forms of artificial turf without PFAS in them. So, the point is, there is an objective reality, and it is important that we keep that in mind, and I believe that's what to do.
Yeah.
But again, it is key that he guided his flock and anyone who would listen into paying attention to what is real.
And encouraging.
And that is
And
important.
Okay. Steve, and they're making edits right now considering everything that everybody's saying, so.
Okay, I basically like the way this has turned out. I would like to see COVID with a capital C, and I would like to see an S at the end of vaccination. And I would like to see in the second whereas a reference to the fact that the church was located at 179th Street and Audubon Avenue, which is why that's the chosen place for this honorary.
You trust us to add this later?
Yeah, we're gonna.
We're doing, all right, and then the last one is Marion. Sorry, we gotta.
He's doing it.
We're typing as we go,
We
yeah.
have Marielle there, let's have
typing as
Marielle,
we
then
go.
we're done. Yeah, she's done, we're done. Wait, Marielle's turn is waiting. Y'all taught me Stacks very well. So.
Recognize the presence of the
Yes.
Justice Rolando.
Yes, they spoke earlier.
You were late, Steve.
You're late, that's what happens when you're late.
That's what happens when you're late.
Okay.
Sorry, hold on. So folks, for real, all serious, Marielle's been waiting. Marielle.
Thank you. Just looking back, could we go back to the, whereas we're talked it, so has it been agreed that we're taking out misinformation?
Actually, yeah.
We took it as.
Accurate, they just put clear, accurate information.
Okay, fine. My only point was going to be if we kept the misinformation to also include disinformation, because there's a difference between the two.
Yes.
Misinformation is, just inaccurate information, and disinformation is deliberate attention. You're a deliberate, attempt to spread false information. And so I just wanted to, I think those two go hand in hand, but if it's been removed, then I'm fine with it as is. Thanks.
Yeah, we're gonna consider the other friendly amendments. We're gonna come back. I think we're out of time. But this is what we have for now, so we're gonna stick to it.
And vote
Is it on
for
the
it,
same thing?
please.
And yeah, please support.
Well, Daniel, go ahead.
This life of service and then just add like last part of that service.
They need-
Yeah.
They're gonna want more the level detail. It also goes in the thing. Do you want them to stop?
They wanna allocate.
Yeah. No, I know, but if.
Guys, let's give the floor
Hold
to
on, we need
Nora.
to clarify something. That's when we're able to let them. Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that we were already done,
Yeah,
so
we're done.
we're good.
We're done.
Thank you for that, though.
Thank you, guys.
Next time. Thank you, Bruce and Leo, for holding this down, and if you need essays or resolutions edited, remember, we have multiple folks who do support. All right, so next up, we're gonna have Isidro come on up for licensing. Let me just stop my share. Where am I? Oh.
Oh, thank you so much, Madam Chair. I'm reporting that for the licensing committee, we don't have too many hot items, no misinformation, nor any other adjectives that you mentioned. I'm going to go over the agenda for some changes. Agenda item number 13 is posted on the as a objection. Sorry, thank you. Agenda item number 3 is posted as an objection. That should not be an objection. It should be no objection.
Okay.
Also on agenda item number 3. So that should be changed to no objection. And then we as a committee rejected agenda item number 6 and 7. Agenda number 6, there was some concerns about some noise on Bravo 56, and they did not obtain a full majority of the committee. On agenda item number 7, we decided not to vote in favor because the applicant requesting a new license didn't show up. On agenda item number 9, you have that as a no objection. However, we requested for them to bring a copy of the proof of purchase of sound limiter. As of Friday of last week, they have not provided such proof. So therefore, agenda item number 9 is going to change from a positive to a negative. On that note, I'm going to ask committee members to chime in case there are some questions that I don't fully answer. And on that note, I'm going to open up the floor for questions.
Can you repeat Steve's question again?
Sure. Steve,
Yeah, but two points.
2 points from Steve. Yes.
Number 8, did they provide the proof of sound limiter in that case?
Can you say it again?
Steve is asking if agenda number 8 provided proof of the sound limiter. Answer to that is yes, they have provided proof of a sound limiter. Your second question, then one.
Okay, in resolution number 7. The resolve says that refers to the renewal of the restaurant wine liquor license for Ray's Pizza Bar. Is I have to assume that's a mistake.
It's a typo. It should be for El Pitalillo.
It's for the crate place, huh?
Yes, it's for the agenda that is mentioned on El Pitallito. So that should be the name. I'll make the correction. Pitallito.
No, 7 is La Creperie.
Yes.
Yeah,
7 is for crate place.
8 is El Pitallito.
That's what I said right there. Like February.
Yeah.
So agenda number 7 is
Look.
we object to that. It's just thank you.
It should be.
It should be yeah. So let me just clear that up. So on 7, it should be the DBA Creperies. Should not be the one that Steve mentioned. So it's just we're gonna change the name correctly. Luana?
But one quick clarification, 9 is no objection or objection?
So number 9 has been changed from no objection to an objection because they did not provide proof of sound limited.
Thank you.
I believe that's it. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, good evening, everyone. We're gonna do a roll call vote. I'm gonna call you in alphabetical order, and then you're gonna tell me for which resos you're voting on what. Alvin Adams, how do you vote?
In favor of all.
Kamirna, how do you vote? She was here. Did she leave? Okay. Mariella, how do you vote?
Yes to all. Thank you.
Richard Allman, how do you vote?
Yes to all.
Mary Anderson, how do you vote?
Yes to all.
I'm gonna repeat the vote.
Oh, I'm sorry. Richard Allman voted yes to all. Alvin Adams voted yes to all. Jay Baez, how do you vote?
Yes to all.
Jay Baez voted yes to all. Jacob Banis, how do you vote?
No to number 7, yes.
Jacob voted no to number 7, and yes to the rest. Radia Barnes, how do you vote? I'm sorry, can you stay muted until I call on you because there's an echo in the room? Thank you. Radia Barnes, how do you vote? Radia votes yes to all. Wayne, how do you vote?
Yes to all.
Wayne votes yes to all. Jim Berlin, how do you vote?
I vote yes to all, and I usually never have.
Jim votes yes to all. And for the record, that normally doesn't happen. Daniel Bonilla, how do you vote?
Yes to all.
Daniel votes yes to all. Hector Bonilla, how do you vote?
Yes to all.
Hector votes yes to all. Eleazar, how do you vote?
I don't know if you can unmute.
Yes to all. Yes to all. Sorry. Yes to all. Yes to all.
Nobles Crawford, how do you vote? Nobles votes yes to all. Luis Cruz, how do you vote? Luis votes yes to all. Chair, how do you vote?
Yes to all.
Chair votes yes to all. Luana, how do you vote?
Yes to all.
Luana votes yes to all. Barbara Frazier, how do you vote? Barbara, how do you vote?
Yes to all.
Thank you. Tanisha Grant, how do you vote?
Yes to all.
Thank you. Heidi Guzman, how do you vote?
Yes to all.
Heidi votes yes to all. Simari, how do you vote?
Yes to all.
Votes yes to all. Jody, how do you vote?
Yes to all.
Jody votes yes to all. Leo, how do you vote? Leo votes yes to all. Michelle, how do you vote?
I vote yes to all.
Michelle votes yes to all. Liz, how do you vote?
Vote no on number 9. I am not voting due to conflict on numbers 4 and 7. I'm on the board of a nonprofit organization having a fundraiser that approached both of those establishments for a contribution to said fundraiser. And I vote yes to the rest.
Okay, Liz votes no on 9, conflict of interest on 4 and 7, due to being on a board that receives funding from those organizations, from those entities, contributions from those entities, excuse me, and she votes yes to the rest. Alexis, how do you vote?
Yes to all.
Alexis votes yes to all. Isidro, how do you vote?
Yes to all.
Isidro votes yes to all. Carmen, how do you vote?
Yes to all.
Carmen votes yes to all. Indiana, how do you vote?
I vote yes to all.
Thank you. Bruce, how do you vote?
No on 9, yes to the rest.
Bruce votes no on 9 and yes to the rest. Steve, how do you vote?
I abstain on 3 and 9. And I vote yes on all others, especially A, for fear of being held in contempt of court otherwise.
Steve votes, excuse
No
me,
need
Steve
to-
abstains from resos 3 and 9 and yes to the rest. Carl, how do you vote?
Yes to all.
Carl votes yes to all. I vote yes to all. Did I miss anybody? Oh, is she back?
Did you
Okay,
get Indiana?
I did.
and- I don't know. Okay.
okay, thank you all.
Thank
Oh, wait,
you.
Carmen voted?
I voted.
Oh,
She-
on my phone. All right, cool. So we're gonna go on to committee reports, what happened, or we got minutes, so really what's coming up next in May. So business isn't here. Oh, you are here? Okay, great. All right, so we'll go with business development followed by parks. And then for youth, and then we got Tanisha Carmen, if there's anything to share.
Texting what to say. Behalf of Business Development Committee, Latin Night Market was postponed from April 17th. It is now for May 17th from 4 to 10. Vendor applications are still available. Please recommend businesses to apply. Also, remember to tell your businesses to apply for their roadway or sidewalk cafe license by August 3rd, or take their structures down by November to avoid violations. We want to thank everybody for passing the Business Development Committee's resolution in support of Popular Bank's Banking Development District designation for the branch on Dykeman. If approved, New York State will directly invest in our district through Popular, so thank you. The state has received our letter of support and are looking over the bank's application.
I think you had a question from Indiana.
Thank you. I was just wondering why the Latin market was postponed. Was it weather related or was there another reason?
I think there was other reasons. Yeah, they need more applicants. Yeah, we need more.
Good to know. Thank you.
Well, when's the last, when does the sharks have to come down? You said by August 3rd?
Yeah, you have to renew your license by August 3rd to apply. I'm sorry, G.
It's okay.
You have to apply for the cafe license by August 3rd or take the structures down by November.
Okay, thank you.
Who's next? All right, cool. Luana is next with Parks and Cultural
That's
Affairs.
segue because that was my vice chair.
Yeah.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much, Alexis, my vice chair, for wearing two hats tonight, for submitting minutes and all that. For everything else, I will recommend that you refer to the minutes, but I did want to acknowledge the people of Bennett Park and appreciate their participation in this meeting tonight, where there's still ongoing, that was at the front and center of our meeting. We want to be able to facilitate these very difficult conversations, particularly when the resolution to build this was passed about 2 years ago. We're still in conversation with Commissioner Shimamura and Vice Commissioner. The result of that meeting or that the participation of the community in that meeting resulted in sort of like this online forum the week after, where questions were asked. And we're still trying to understand the impact of a couple of things: the materials being used, the health impact, the funding, and what would happen, or what are the asks, and if those asks are feasible, particularly if we're talking about a petition or an ask to halt the project until further health reports have been submitted by all of the agencies. These conversations are difficult, but they can be amicable and they can be brokered. So before we move forward, we still want to hear what Parks has to say, what the commissioners have to say, and what the process was prior to closing the park and deciding on the turf. So the conversation is ongoing and we hope for it to be continued. That's all I have to say. Thank you so much for your patience and participation.
I know Domingo's not here. I don't know if Tanisha or Carmen or minutes. You wanna go?
Yeah, sure, Chair. I got you. So we had a powerful meeting last month. We had Alliance for Quality Education come on and talk to us about childcare, about the fight for universal childcare for our students. We understand that child care providers are not being paid a livable wage, and our parents are not being able to afford adequate child care. So that has a lot to do with our committee. If we talk about the youth and education, It affects everything in that area. So the next steps, we're thinking about writing a resolution to support universal childcare, especially since the budget is out and we have no extra money for childcare. And that will affect our parents, that will affect our providers. So hopefully next month before we close, we will have a resolution that we hope you all will support to support universal childcare for all of our students and parents. Thank you.
Thank you, Tanisha. All right, next up we have Wayne with land use, and then we'll go to Mary with concerns of the aging.
Thank you. I refer you to the minutes, but I also thank Heidi for the very, very, very detailed minutes. As you can see, we had an extensive discussion of Presbyterian's new proposed cancer building. It is not subject to ULURP, but it is subject to what's called an authorization, and that is because the entire campus is under a large-scale development plan. So anytime anything changes, that zoning has to be reviewed. The project has not formally been referred to CB12, but we've received a lot of information on it. The materials are actually online, and when the environmental assessment is done, it will formally be referred to us. However, land use may consider it in June if we do not receive the formal referral by mid or late May, because if we don't do it in June, then we're going to recess in July and August, and that means we will lose the opportunity to discuss it. In May, we're going to have a pretty busy agenda. We're going to continue discussions of outreach strategies for the ongoing landmark survey. There is at the state level a faith-based affordable housing act. The intent of it is great. We need to understand what are some of the planning implications of that. The way the language is written may not exactly represent what is intended by the act, so we want to review that and suggest some potential changes. We're going to have a presentation by the United Palace on some of their upcoming capital projects. As you may recall, the United Palace is now a landmark building, so anything on the outside is going to be subject to LPC review. The Department of City Planning will be presenting its third in a series of 3 City of US zoning text amendments. This one is for housing opportunity. And we will also be considering another statewide initiative. This is a budget bill which would, as was mentioned earlier, legalize basement and cellar dwelling units. Once again, we need to see what is included in the language so that the intent reconciles with what is actually on paper. Questions? Next.
Sorry, no, I'm just like a ticket system today. All right. Oh, Mary, sorry.
Okay, so our meeting in April, we had the first hybrid meeting off-site at the Dykeman Senior Center. And something that we did pre-COVID, we were going to various places in the community, senior centers, et cetera, to have our committee meetings. There were a few hiccups, but in general, the meeting went very well. We had a presentation from the State Society on Aging. Please read the minutes. It's very detailed. And thank you to James Bosley and Rabbi Yosef Kolinsky for the minutes. Our next meeting will be hybrid, but in person at the Community Board office. And we're having a presentation from RAP, Release Aging People from Prison, on a documentary that they produced called The Interview. So please join us for that if you can. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Mary. And congrats. I think you were the first committee to be off-site, so in the last 4 years, so that's awesome.
Leading the way, Mary.
Always. All right, Steve. Steve is next. The microphone, Steve.
My monthly report on COVID-19 statistics shows, this is from the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene website as of this afternoon, shows that the highest hospitalization rate in our area was in zip code 32, 11.1 for 100,000 in the 28-day period ending April the 11th. Interestingly enough, the other three zip codes did very well. They were either a 0 or somehow minus 0. It couldn't even be calculated. But zip code 32 ranked as number 16 among the 177 zip codes in New York City. Total number of cases since we last met, another 107 cases. And I'm glad to be able to say that there have been no additional deaths. That's hardly any, hardly have had the chance to ever say that in any of these reports. But in the last month, no one has died of COVID-19 in our community, thankfully. At our last meeting, we also had a presentation. It wasn't just land use. We also had a presentation on the New York Presbyterian plan for a Cancer Plus building at 165th and Port Washington. And I believe that we will be providing some advice and counsel to the Land Use Committee when the resolution is produced within that committee. We'll have something to add to it, I'm sure. We also had a very interesting discussion about animal care and stray animals in the community and whether or not we can provide spay and neuter services. I think OC is not with us. She's not attending tonight, but I think OC was probably motivated to maybe organize a special event to provide spay and neuter services and maybe looking to the elected officials for some support. At our next meeting, we'll be getting a presentation from students at the Washington Heights Expeditionary Learning School, known as WHEELS. They have a cleanup campaign on West 182nd Street, running, I think, from Broadway all the way to Amsterdam, where the school is located. And we'll also be getting a presentation from the Columbia University Medical Center on its new biomedical research building, which is planned for Audubon Avenue and 167th Street.
Indiana, the question, please.
Oh,
Thank you. I just had a quick question. The campaign to, I guess, like get pets neutered, is that also coming from an effort out of the Bronx recently that there was like there's like a community group and they started a petition and they were like trying to get a hold of the city? Is it like just something independent or was it tied to something coming out of the Bronx? Do you know?
well, I think it's really generated by OC herself, because she's like a one-woman rescue group, or she specializes in rescuing cats up in Inwood, and I think she herself was motivated to go into this. She may, in fact, have contact with that group in the Bronx. She may have alluded to it during our meeting, but she's self-motivated on this question.
So I
Okay,
would
great.
say
Great.
there are, just because it has popped up before, is that a lot of the mobile clinics that used to exist and they would be all across the neighborhood. And I think I wouldn't say it's necessarily tied to from the Bronx thing, but it's a citywide issue because those operations ceased. So I wouldn't say it's kind of like a pain point that a lot of people are feeling.
Got it. If I could just add, the only reason I raise it is because I think that there's a group in the Bronx that is trying to reach out to community boards. So I like gave them the date for our meetings and sent them the link because I think that there's some like people who sell like dogs and that they're like getting stray cats and having the dogs, like training the dogs to attack the cats. So I didn't know like if they had come your way or not just yet, but they may be reaching out. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you for the heads up.
Thank you, Steve.
All right, thank you all.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jumina Kober, Assistant Chair for Public Safety Committee. I'm going to refer you to our minutes and our YouTube videos, but I just have a quick invitation from Edgecombe Residential Treatment Facility on 164th Street and Edgecombe, and they're having their annual tour by private citizens, which is pretty much where they invite community members to participate in a tour of the facility. I know some of us went last year and it was under some renovations, but now it's fully renovated, fully equipped. So if anybody's interested, please let me know. This is going to be taking place on Tuesday, June 4th at 11 a.m. And we just need individuals to let us know by May 24th. So if you're interested, please let me know and I'll be in the back. Right?
Send it to me so I can send it in the newsletter.
And our chair is going to share it in our newsletter. Thank you.
Oh, Marielle. All right, and then next up is Marielle. Last, actually Marielle, because Daryl's out. Oh, you're speaking? Okay, no.
What about cannabis?
Oh, sorry. The agenda went out without cannabis. We'll add you in. Marielle, you good?
Can I still, yeah, I was gonna say if I can, thank you. Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Marielle Ali for the kind of new members and the chair of the Housing and Human Services Committee. We had a pretty good meeting in April. We talked quite a bit about our ongoing resolution, which is the standards for the future developments in CB12. Unfortunately, we did not have quorum, so we were not able to pass it. And unfortunately, there was not quorum at the executive committee, so we were unable to vote on it either. And so it will be hopefully on the May agenda for the executive committee, but it has been shared with the committee chairs at various points. And so please do, if you have any other feedback or input, let us know so that that can be taken under consideration. The other thing to note, May and June will be quite busy for us, and kind of Wayne talked a little bit to that because obviously our committees work quite closely with one another. We will be having a presentation from the Department of City Planning for the City of Yes for housing opportunities at our May meeting. We'll also be probably doing some work on the Rent Guidelines Board. As you know, the vote will be coming up soon. They just had their last public meeting today, I think it was. And then I think it's the week after that they'll then kind of put out their the range of in terms of the rent increases or the proposed rent increases for rent stabilized apartments. So do look out for something from our committee on that. The other thing to flag, which is really, really important for our June meeting, so I'm telling you with plenty of time, we are going to have a presentation from HPD to capture the results of the visioning workshop as well as the questionnaires for the 4095 10th Avenue development for the request for proposal. So I know a lot of you participated in that process. A few of you were there at the actual event, and that's been pushed out quite widely. So please, 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 that's an opportunity to show up and kind of voice your concerns, help shape what the request for proposals can look like for that site. And then, yeah, I think that's it for everything else. Please refer to the minutes. The other thing I would say is I do want to thank publicly Emily, who served as assistant chair for our committee for quite some time. Really appreciate her and all of her efforts. We'll certainly miss her. And happy to share that Jay will be the new assistant chair for the Housing and Human Services Committee. So welcome aboard, Jay.
Thank you, Jay. All right. Anthony is next.
Hello, everyone. Am I on?
Oh, wait, sorry.
Hi, everyone. I am speaking on behalf of the Bylaws Task Force. This month, we spoke about Articles 14 through 16, as well as part of Article 11. That leaves us with about an article and a half to review as a task force. Our plan currently, and we're still waiting to chat with our chair, Second Vice Chair Darrell Cochran. Our plan is to meet in person in May so we can formally vote on the amendments, which will then, once cleaned up, will be ready for your review. So we're eyeing towards possibly doing a board type special meeting in June. But don't wait to that. That's it. Thank you.
Perfect. All right. And then not even bonus, you're supposed to be on the list. Nobles Cannabis Task Force.
No, it's fine.
All right. So, hey guys, we had a great meeting in April. I'm Nobles, chair of the Cannabis Task Force. Great meeting in April, where we're going to be working with Aracela is still on here. Aracela is still on here. Thank you, Kathy. Awesome. With CUNY School of Health and Human Services, and we're going to be doing a survey with them in our neighborhood. And so if you see folks going around asking about like what some of the views in our neighborhood are about marijuana, I encourage you to take the survey. It'll also be promoted through our newsletter to a link to the survey. It's digital. There's going to be people in the streets because we really want to get a temperature check on the sentiment of marijuana coming to our streets of New York. But then also they're going to overlay it with a map, which is going to be super cool. And then by the time we have like a September, possibly October meeting, we're going to be able to show you probably not only the sentiment of the feeling of marijuana in our neighborhood, but also where the retail marijuana dispensaries are, among other businesses within our neighborhood, and you can see where their proximity are to school. It's going to be an awesome map. So we're working on this right now. And well, honestly, CUNY is working on this right now, and they've already done it with a couple community boards, and it looks really cool. So so we're gonna start doing this, and look out for the survey and the people around. Thanks.
Perfect. All right. Is there any old business ahead of us? None on Zoom? Any new business? Is there a motion to adjourn? First, Jim, seconded by Isidro. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us online. Have a great evening. We'll see you next month.
Thank you.